Hello and welcome to this edition of the Goal Hour podcast. It's been a while and we keep saying, we'll get to it, we'll get to it. We'll get on a weekly schedule. We'll get on a bi-weekly schedule. We'll do anything it takes. And anything it takes is tough. When you get into looking at a Super League and stuff like that, we just could not resist. A lot of things going on, but we're going to get to a more consistent schedule through the summertime. Of course, Jared Johnston here with Camilo Yepes for this third and a half edition, really. 3.5, we're going to go with a short one here, but it's really important, Camilo. I mean, just right off the bat, what you got?
I hate the Super League. The Super League is the stupidest thing ever, and I'm glad it's gone, and I'm glad it's finished because it's top six. These aren't even the best 6 clubs in the league. Why? Like, these aren't the best 3 clubs in La Liga. These aren't the best 3 clubs in Serie A. Why are they in this Super League? And why is there no relegation or promotion? That gets rid of like half the fun of football. You look at the MLS and the leagues under that. There's no relegation. There's no promotion. You don't see the spirit of the game as much in the US.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. It's even though it's a new league, even though it's a new league in the United States, as I switch to my American accent for the MLS faithful here that love the criticism that the MLS gets here. But even though it's a new league, it's just inherently anti-competitive. You might understand that they want to bring in the revenue streams, but the fact that only as of 2018, 7 teams in the MLS out of 26 teams, I want to say, turn the profit. The rest could barely break even or would take losses. And then they pool all those revenues together, and on top of that, that league's taking in over $100 million to buy a franchise. How are they not successful? What are they doing wrong? They're just investing in ownership. They're not investing in communities, and that's a big thing that's different, I believe. That as long as the football in Europe, and they continue to developing these academies, and really prioritizing the fans and the youth that really make up the communities and the fabric of them, that's what's going to make a difference. And this whole idea of the Super League was the complete antithesis of football, really. It was crazy to think that they would want to take it away. The only people that like this are American fans or international fans that operate under an anti-competitive closed league system and think it breeds more competition, but it doesn't. It just brings in teams that are undeserving of the matchups pretty much, and then it makes it less special because they're always playing each other. Part of the allure is that if you're a 4th Division supporter of Leyton Orient, that you can always dream. And you have that opportunity. And the fact that the ownership would even think about that. I mean, Tottenham Hotspur, among plenty of others, their history is tainted forever just after 48 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna put my little 15 cents in here. I got this from I forgot his name, Irish guy from HITC Sevens, one of his videos. I think this I don't know his names. Video.
But yeah, HITC Sport, Irish guy.
Sport,
he's cool.
Thank you.
Check him out.
He made a little joke saying oh, the Super League is so stupid because I can't have my team, Leyton Orient, go all the way up and win the Champions League just like I did in Football Manager. It's not possible.
Mm-hmm.
There's no competitiveness. There's no, you can't go to that league because it's closed. So there's no real point. What I think a domestic league.
Yeah, what I think was most crazy about it was the fact that you might say, oh, well, the harsh times bring out the worst in people. You get to see people's true colors. And you could say it goes both ways for plenty of things in life, that it brings out the worst and the best of people in this pandemic. And the fact that these teams say that because money would flow straight into them and the ownership themselves, a lot of which we should keep in mind for our American viewers, that you should not support them because it's American owners that don't really care about the football culture in the country that they support and the country that they club that they own. I mean, think about the fact, as a better example, in the United States we have state representatives that represent little local municipalities within states, and then that makes up the greater country. Imagine if your state representative doesn't represent your community and lives an hour away. How does that make you feel that they don't understand or experience what you do on a daily basis, making the sacrifices you make for the people around you. It's the exact same feeling. It's the exact same sentiment.
Even on a sort of international level, you could compare this to something like Puerto Rico and the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get to vote, but a lot of U.S. laws go in place there, and they don't, like, it's a different standard in Puerto Rico versus mainland USA. You could say that with, I guess, Britain and all their islands, or France and
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
their territories in South America. So I mean, like, there's no real representation other than those Big 12 clubs, and that's why it's bad.
Yeah, look, another thing that I thought was just terrible, I guess, that I forgot to get to on that point, the previous point, was the fact that it's such an ignorant position to take, unless it's just a facade like it's always been. One thing that Gary Neville said, to quote him, just bottleheads or something like that, never getting in front of a camera.
Bottle merchants.
Never. Bottle merchants, yeah. The fact that the bottle merchants either are just trying to be manipulative or they don't understand what's happening with the actions they took. The fact that they're saying that they need money when there are teams in the lower league systems, even the championship and other leagues, that need fan viewership and revenue. They don't have television contracts like these teams do and merchandising sales. It's such an ignorant position to take and such an insensitive position to take from all of the big six clubs and then some of the teams, Italy and Spain, obviously, as well, to say that they're the ones that need money. And in a closed league system, the money doesn't go to other teams, and they'll say that's what's going to improve football after the pandemic. It's so selfish, especially Florentino Perez. That's one of the main proponents of it, along with Agnelli from Juventus. I mean, it's all a lot of teams just pushing to stay at the top, and it's greed, 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 as basically all the pundits have been saying. I mean, we could go on it for hours too, and it's like crazy to think how short the episode was. Like 48 hours. I mean,
2 days.
If it doesn't tell you about the power of the fabric that really generations of football fans have built, it's helped tie fans from overseas like us into those communities to be able to be a part of that fan culture and have it be so strong across the internet, like across the board. I don't think anyone supported this. Not even the players, of course. Not even the coaches that all spoke out. It's just the owners looking after themselves. And I mean, one guy that's really great to see, Gary Neville, step up, just all the pundits. Champion of the people. I was starting my Gary Neville retweet of the day. I started that yesterday on my Twitter at Johnston TV. And now it's over because the Super League is gone. And I mean, that doesn't tell you about the power of the fan base that we still have. I mean, what else should we know along with that? I mean, it could be all taken away in a second. I mean, if this isn't legally ruled down in the courts, it brings in more chances for greedy American owners, among others, to just take advantage of us and all the players as well. Because, like, imagine if John Stones wasn't allowed to play in the Euros. Imagine if Eric Dyer wasn't allowed to play in the Euros or the World Cup. I mean, Camilo, if you were a player, like, how would you feel? Like, basically, it's the same position as a fan. It was the owners going behind everyone's backs and making that decision for themselves.
I mean, like, I've got two things that I... Going to an earlier point that you said about, like, the owners, American owners specifically, not understanding it, is I saw something, I think it was the Glazers.
Yep.
They were, like, explaining promotion and relegation to the Glazers, and they're like, I don't understand why this is a thing. Because it breeds competitiveness. It creates, like, more opportunities for other teams from lower leagues to play in the top league. And it's just frustrating that he doesn't, like, understand that the Glazers don't understand that.
Well, like, there's so many people from America that have learned what the football pyramid's all about. At the football pyramid, this is what I'm doing a speech in one of my classes for. The football pyramid isn't supposed to be the caste system. We're not supposed to group all these teams and divisions and then not give them upwards mobility. they're not just supposed to stay in one class for their entire lifespans. Like, the whole point of the pyramid is to give them that opportunity, and, like, he doesn't understand that because in American leagues, there's only one league, whereas from an American viewpoint of ignorance in some respects, if you're not familiar with the game, he might look at the Premier League and say, oh, what's the point of it, but doesn't understand that all the domestic cups are all interwebbed, and qualifications and things like that are all interwebbed with each other, and there's a deep-rooted tradition in having that.
I'll name 3 examples. 2.5 examples of owners buying clubs and helping those clubs build up like the football pyramid. Mm-hmm. Number one, I watched a video from Tifo
Football, great guy.
Tifo Football.
Yeah.
On how Sir Elton John bought his boyhood club of Watford.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
He helped them build up to, I think it was the top league of the time in England. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, they never wanted trophies or anything, but still, like, what an experience that must have been for him and the supporters and the players to be a part of that. As well as, you can see that with a lot of former Man United players buying, what was the team?
You got Gary Neville with Salford City.
Yeah, Salford City. And then you also... Like they went back-to-back promotions. They got back-to-back promotions a lot. Mm-hmm. And something that I'm expecting in the future is 2 actors from the U.S. I forgot.
Ryan
One
Reynolds.
of them plays... Yeah, Ryan Reynolds and...
Wrexham.
Mac Hanoi or
Wales.
something.
It's crazy. They went to Wales to buy it. Like, it's kind of interesting because, like, you look at Swansea City and they're one of the only Welsh teams that's gotten up in recent memory. So, like... Wrexham AFC, just across the border, closer to some of the southern cities like London, has a chance. I mean, you talk about it. You have another example after that? I wasn't even keeping track because
those are the 3. Those are my 3.
I mean, it's fantastic to see. Like, I mean, if we had the money, what would we be doing? If I had the money in the future to buy a 1% stake in my football club, I don't know what that would be because, like, I have, like, a lot of different ones. As if you check into our first episode, we kind of eliminate our biases and put them out in the open. But for Camilo, I guess you could speak on Spurs, even though Daniel Levy is in heavy control right now.
Yeah, I mean, I could buy Spurs, I could buy Nacional from Colombia, or I could buy the Tampa Bay Rowdies. I mean,
Tampa Bay Rowdies are on the up and up. It's going to be huge.
Jared, when me and you are millionaires, let's buy it. The Tampa Bay Rowdies.
Buy it from the Rays owner, Stu Sternberg. If he moves the Tampa Bay Rays to Montreal, he doesn't have a reason to own the Rowdies anymore. So
true.
Except for the fact that he'd probably poach the weather down in Florida and, like, buy a summer home and pay his taxes in Florida because he's smart like that. But
true. Also, I got one more quote just about the Super League.
Oh, yeah, go to town with it.
So, yeah, that's going to be, like, my last thing about it. James Rodriguez, Colombian international, Everton player, former Real Madrid, former Galactico.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
He said, according to the bluekipper.com on Twitter, that is at bluekipper.com on Twitter, James Rodriguez said, when you are a child, you dream of playing a Champions League, or a World Cup, not a Super League. If because of the pandemic, the big clubs have had a bad time, imagine the small ones. They suffer a lot. And, I mean, this guy is right. I'm not going to say he plays in a small club, but he doesn't play in the top 6 in England. And
yeah, but they're going to break through with Don Carlo. You look at him trying to make an impact in the later stages of his career and moving out from Goodison Park and the steel supports that block players' views. I mean, their new stadium's going to be beautiful on the water. They have room for growth. The same thing with Spurs and a lot of clubs. And then clubs that don't even have the financial backing, but have the organic support. And, like, he's absolutely right about that being the whole point of playing the game. That's the whole reason we turn on the telly, really, to watch football. I don't think it's as much about, I don't think it's as much about watching specific players or being a fan. For example, if you're more of a bandwagon and you like watching Leo Messi or seeing your team win. But like what I'm getting at really, it's all about the hope and the belief you can have to get somewhere that it's always there. Like if there's no hope to like move up, what's the point of playing? It's the same thing. Like if you're doing stuff in life and you have nothing to work towards, what's the point of working? Like James Rodriguez bringing this up is absolutely great. We've seen like even like players on the top 6 clubs say the exact same thing and say like, what are we playing for if we're just automatically guaranteed that? What's the point of that? We might not even deserve it. You might see Liverpool finish in 7th place this season, and what would be the point of giving them that qualification in a hypothetical scenario? The players wouldn't feel like they deserved it. They didn't have the on-pitch product to show at the end of the season. Despite the injuries, every team's had injuries. But the fact that all the players got behind this, and some of them like in really prominent clubs that were able to voice their support, even though those same owners were writing their paychecks, was a very strong showing, for me at the very least. But
honestly,
yeah, I mean, by the Tampa Bay Rowdies, by a small stake in Nacional, the Spurs club. I mean, honestly, if I were to buy a stake in a team, hopefully Atalanta's still bossing it. I think a huge progression for a team like that is their investment in their youth academies. They actually just won their first trophy in the Premiership for their under-23 squad. They won the Coppa Italia. So that's what they're looking to do against Juventus in the future too. So like a team like that, like the only reason they have this hope to stay at the top is because of all the recent success that they've had, and if they keep investing, it gives the fans in Bergamo and the city itself a chance to grow, especially after recovery from COVID. And basically cycling and centering all that money into big markets that are already stable and always will be after the pandemic is just purely greedy and despicable. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, in the end, there's no words when you look at the statement from those clubs just a few days ago. I mean, I was shocked. I heard the rumors, but I was shocked that they would think that they could somehow get the approval from all the other organizations to put this together.
Or even the fans.
I don't know what the strategy was. Like, what was your first reaction to the Super League proposal?
I looked at it and I said, what? No. What? No. Wait, are Tottenham going to be in this? Tottenham Tottenham are in 7th right now. What? Yeah. Arsenal's in this?
The Gooners are in 11th. They were in 11th.
All these teams that are playing in Europa League are in this. Arsenal, Tottenham, Inter Milan. Or not Inter Milan, I'm sorry. AC Milan.
Inter Milan knocked out of European competition. Juventus knocked out of European competition. Maybe won't even qualify for the Champions League. All these teams that, just have a historical backing, really, that they wanted to capitalize on. Basically more of a talking about their own brand. And that's not to say that America is the root of all evil. It's we live in America and we have great lives here and we're thankful for that. But the sporting system is basically a very individualistic system, and it's really only tailored towards American markets. And the fact that all these American owners were able to get other people on board to show how they could capitalize on earnings and be able to make 3 times as much as they would in European competitions was a very enticing offer, especially for some teams that were in financial ruins. But I still don't understand, because it's all about principle. And you say, if I was the owner of a club, the reason I would be proud to own my club is because we'd be able to maintain success, serve our community, and be able to qualify for a lot of things based on merit. I couldn't look myself in the mirror and say, in anything really, that I deserve something that I haven't worked for. But the reason because, like you said, with the Glazers, have no idea what's going on with their club, Manchester United. And you think of the Glazers, you think of Cranky Sports Group who owns the Denver Broncos. They own Arsenal, and then Fenway Sports Group in Boston owns Liverpool. along with LeBron James at a 10% stake. So, like, it's just unthinkable. It's unfathomable. You would have never thought 100 years ago that we get to this point, but we got here. The fact that it wasn't implemented doesn't change the sentiment from the ownership groups. It'll never be erased. It'll always be remembered as long as I live.
Same.
If I'm just some keyboard typing conspiracy theorist and all the young fans have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll make sure they learn this lesson. Because if you don't learn your history, you're doomed to repeat it. So it's crazy. It's crazy.
I'll put it like this. This is my last thing on it. So, and then I'm going to bring up Spurs and Ryan Mason.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll get into some Premier League talk. Just kind of closing out this European Super League stuff because, I mean, it came and went so quickly, so let's get it out of the way. I mean, Don't forget about it, guys, though. We got all that information covered for you.
So, basically, it's as if I became a millionaire. I will, maybe I made a steel company or something, made a lot of money off steel. I don't know. And 20 years later, I have a monopoly on steel, whatever. I decide to dip my toes in... I like soccer, or I like football, and I decide to dip my toes into buying a cricket team.
Hey, Camilo,
what am I doing? I don't understand
Northern Ireland or America, you can say soccer. That was a fun fact Camilo told me. So we say footy and football a lot, but we'll switch off between both for everyone here.
Yeah, so it's like as if I were to buy some sort of cricket team. I don't understand the passion of cricket. I don't understand the intricacies of the sport. Why am I doing this? Why am I trying to monopolize off something I don't enjoy, I guess?
It would be interesting if you entertained that because you were interested in it and you wanted to be a part of that culture and you've been involved with it. And, that's something that you can look at, too, is, the teams that are owned by these owners, they don't care at all. You would understand if they got involved for that. And the main problem looking at the Super League was it's a really tough legal prosecution based on the fact that they're owning it on their own consensus. The clubs themselves don't go through UEFA or a federation. They just do it themselves. So that was the tough legal grounds. But what they're trying to prosecute for is as a monopolistic anti-competitive practice, which it should get. But technically, it might not qualify for that in some respects, which was really scaring me when I saw the news break out. I mean, just glad to see it all come to a resolve with the power and passion from the fans. But it's just unfathomable, really, to think about. I mean, I was trying to think of one more point that I had that I thought was kind of strong, but yeah.
Just to date this before we move on to another topic, I think there are only 4 clubs left that are technically in the Super League. Those being AC Milan, who else? Juventus.
Juventus.
And then Real Madrid and Barcelona.
Yeah, real quick on Barcelona, I guess. Ronald Koeman came out in support of the owners and the Super League. But I feel like that's such a biased position for him to take because, he just wants to keep his job. Barca does need the money. I mean, yeah, it's just really... I don't know. I feel like that's the only coach that I've seen that's stepped up in favor of
Klopp had
that system. Yeah, Klopp and Pep were fantastic.
Yeah,
on their takes.
Respect
Spot
to them.
On. Mm-hmm.
And
Huge
then Ryan
respect.
Mason. Ryan Mason obviously didn't really he had nothing to say about it as he just started managing Tottenham.
Yeah, that's Spurs talk. We're getting into it, and honestly, imagine if you were thrust into the role at age 30. I mean, granted, he's had some experience within the pro level in their youth academy. I mean, he's probably got it all done. He's Spurs born and bred. What do you expect from him?
I mean, respect, man.
I think we should touch on our old friend Jose because
let's just
if we're giving respect. I mean, when we started this podcast, and we would always basically because of Camilo's Spurs fan Camilo's Spurs fandom, we always gave like a specific plot of time to talk about Jose and all the stuff that he did with Spurs and what he could do. And we really admire him as a manager and all the silverware he's won, but like...
we love him, but we hate him.
Yeah, like, what... I mean, I was so surprised when the news came out. Especially a lot of people that were neutrals were like, why would you do it before a cup final? Like, what is that going to change for you? I have my own opinion on it, but, I mean, you can go on about... With the sacking, what does Ryan Mason bring to the table? Or, I mean, what will change, if anything?
I'm just going to put it in the perspective of a Spurs fan. As this is a very crazy, this has been a very crazy, past 3 days for a Spurs fan. So first, you find out we're going to be in this European Super League. What is this? What the heck is this? And then we go and I wake up and I see a text from Jared on Instagram that Jose's sacked. And I'm like, wait, is this April Fool's? Is today April 1st? And I'm like, no, that was 3 weeks ago. I'm like, wait, he's been sacked. What is this? And I look at it and yeah, he's been sacked. And apparently, according to people, he was sacked because he didn't train the team for because of the Super League or whatever. Not sure if that's true or not.
Yeah, to jump in, Fabrizio Romano, one of the most credible inside reporters in the world, I can't think of a time that he's been wrong on one of his sources. Broke the news after that was not one of the reasons, but I would think it was. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
what else would it be? I mean, Jose hasn't had the best performances, but he obviously voiced his displeasure for that new league format.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect it being Jose that. Either way. So, Jose's out. I see some interviews. I'm always in football. Haha. Love his personality is the best
he's
thing
gonna
ever.
Become an influencer. I mean, he'll still get paid with ads. So, I mean, as he takes the time to enjoy the holiday and just sit back and relax with João Sacramento and his coaching staff, I mean, they'll take the time to regroup and hopefully find another job.
Yeah, but now we have Ryan Mason. And Tottenham have just played against Southampton. And then I'm watching the first half. Or I watched some before anything. I watched some Ryan Mason interviews. And I'm like, wow, this guy is Spurs. This man is Spurs. This man is more Spurs than me, obviously. And he goes
he's been with Spurs longer than you've been alive, probably.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, okay. Yeah, I believe in this guy. He goes on and first half I'm watching and we're playing pretty badly. Southampton score, half ends 1-0. I'm like, okay, this guy's a new manager. He's an interim manager. What do you expect? I don't expect him to win. I'd be happy with a draw. Wouldn't be upset if we lost, but I'd be happy with a draw. Second half starts and the players are playing phenomenally, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, this guy must have really pushed them. He must have really told them, inspired them, I guess, much better than I've seen Jose do. So I keep watching. Gareth Bale makes a wonderful goal. Everyone's partying, yay.
That was the one thing I saw on replay because I could not catch the game. I had other commitments, but it's just Bale's class, and then just seeing what he said post game that you'll get to is fantastic for the club as well.
And then I see later I'm watching Son makes a goal, he doesn't win, or it's offsides. Oh well. Now 86th minute or something. I forgot what his name is. I'm looking it up right now. Let me look up his name. I'm sorry. Oh,
give me a description. Is he on Spurs?
Iheanacho. I don't know.
He's on Southampton.
Yeah, he's on Southampton. He fouls. No, Iheanacho, something like that. He fouls someone. I forgot who. Right on the edge of the penalty box. Lamella on the edge of the penalty box, and we get a penalty.
Ibrahim Diallo.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
That's his name. And we get a penalty, and he scored. No, not Diallo, the other guy. Djenepo. Okay,
Oh,
and
probably like
Son
Ginepo.
scores.
Yeah.
Yeah, Son scores the goal, and I mean, wow, you should have seen the atmosphere in my bedroom. I went crazy. I go, yeah, but I mean, I'm ecstatic that Ryan Mason. I'm not gonna say it's only Ryan Mason. It's also the players,
Yeah.
but he gave Gareth Bale a chance. He gave Eric Dyer a chance.
Wait for it. Let's go.
He gave Serge Aurier a chance. He gave who else? Who am I missing?
The big one, the born and bred.
Oh, he gave Harry Winks a
Yeah.
chance. And I mean, most of those players, Eric Dyer played pretty good for Eric Dyer, I'd say.
He is an
Gareth
England
Bale-
international.
Yeah, I mean, Gareth Bale did great. Serge Aurier did very well. And I mean, like, these are people that Jose froze out of the first team.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very happy to see them succeed under new management.
Yeah, I was going to say something about what I thought about the new change, but I remember what I was going to say about the Super League, just on a real quick tidbit. Sorry about the distraction, fans, but yeah, it's when I was talking about how it's tough for a legal prosecution, what I think is like a bigger thing that in anything that you have to patrol is like, what's the morally right thing to do? Like, you can't force everyone to be ethically good. But like when you looked at what the teams have done, from a moral standpoint, none of us would ever do that. None of us would ever ruin the entire sport for the sake of money. The fact that they have so much already and they would do that, like, the fact that those people with that character are in charge of your football team and basically your life is tough to look at. So, I mean, one thing that would be really cool to see is the 50-plus run rule implemented, like we see in Germany. None of those teams committed because of that rule. Even with 3 teams that are kind of exempted from that rule in some respects, like Red Bull Group that had some of their employees invest in different minority stakes. Dietmar Hopp with Hoffenheim is another example. But, yeah, I mean, just great display of really just integrity from that league. Yeah, and Wolfsburg as well. Just really great display of integrity and character from them, the owners, everyone around in Germany, and that strong footballing culture. But, getting back to Ryan Mason, when I saw the news of the sacking, and I told Camilo, I was like, we love Jose, right? I mean, we love that he can take, like, the big thing with Jose coming to Spurs, knowing that he wouldn't have an unlimited budget, was that he's the guy that could transform teams, get them to play to his system, and win trophies. And that was what we expected from him, to be able to get everyone disciplined to play a strong defensive system and keep clean sheets. Ultimately, after the team lost faith under Poch, some lost faith under him. Whether it was their fault or his fault is immaterial at this moment because Ryan Mason's coming in, and I looked at that and I have no idea about like his CV, like what he's done as a coach. But I mean, I love the appointment as an interim job, and I hope he succeeds for the reason that it's like a complete polar opposite change. You're going from the president of having a world-class manager and the players under him that need to win trophies for validation. They need to win those for Jose, and the club itself needs the money and revenue. And now they're just going with a homegrown perspective. I mean, it's the easiest fix as a stopgap to bring in and promote the under-23 coach. But regardless, Jose plays that rigid defensive style. It looked like the players got bogged down in the fact that they couldn't execute it on the counter, and then they became really complacent with trying to just force the ball over the top and just hope and pray. I mean, what I think is, obviously I didn't see the game, but when I see the next game, I'm sure they looked like this against Southampton. But I thought the biggest change that Ryan Mason would bring, besides the fact that there's no pressure on the players to perform and they can just basically wing it, but he's going to bring some free-flowing attacking football. He's going to bring his own fresh philosophy, and in general, what's a huge trend with a lot of young managers coming through the system. Now you look at Julian Nagelsmann, who's like in the same position as Ryan Mason, getting injured at a young age and going into coaching, is that they're really good in organizing their teams off the press. They want to play free-flowing attacking football, and how do they do that? They're high up the field. They don't invite pressure by sitting back. And I think that's what Ryan Mason was going to bring into this team. And I'm assuming that he did, at least bringing in all of those new players. I was telling Camilo to tee up Harry Winks because I am his biggest opponent and critic when I look at Harry Winks. I played soccer for a very long time, for about 8 years of my life, and I was good. But I wasn't great because I wasn't aggressive pressing the ball to win it back, and I never made the risky pass or the important pass. I would always just play it safe, play it to my right, play it behind me, just be complacent with it. And that's the way I feel about Harry Winks. I don't know if he just died under Poch and then died even worse under Mourinho, but I've never been a big fan of him because I feel like he's always slowing the game down, not being able to play on the counter. Does it help now that they maybe will try to see out the game and have more of the ball? Potentially. But the biggest thing, all these players don't have pressure, don't have really any requirements to succeed now because they don't have that world-class manager. I think it really frees them up to do a lot of great things, and I think Ryan Mason's going to invite them to try to be lethal on the attack. I think that's the biggest change, is the young, fresh ideas. And I think because of looking at Julian Nagelsmann with the Red Bull system in Leipzig, I think it absolutely can be done to the end of the season. Do I think if they win out in their last 5 games, do I think that they could qualify for the Champions League? I don't even think so. Like, there are so many great teams at the top. But either way, I'd hope that Ryan Mason does a good job to the end of the season because I'd like to see him through to the next one and really just see some fresh blood and a fresh new philosophy and a completely changed culture at Spurs, especially in light of Daniel Levy betraying the fans, pulling out of the Super League, and now saying that he's going to step away from football operations. I mean, could be many great things on the horizon for Spurs.
Let's go. Hyped.
Yeah, and like one quick thing is like talking about homegrown players. Like all the big clubs, they want to buy players, they want to bring in players with money. But the biggest thing you can invest in as a growing club that wants to establish itself is its academy and creating that culture of being a Spurs player. And now they have Ledley King as an assistant coach. All of the people that they're promoting have basically been one club guys that come up through the system, know the culture, know what it's like to be an underdog in London, and want to achieve great things with the club. I think that's one of the biggest things that they can drill into these players and the club. That's just another quick note. And honestly, I'd hope to see great things for Spurs because the fans deserve it, because they've missed out on a lot. They've missed out on a lot of what they should have. They should have some trophies. They should have some great things.
They should have won something under Poch.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest. Poch had like the
you
golden
could say
era.
You could say that the Champions League final was tough. I mean, you look at Ajax that was up 3-0.
Yeah, I mean,
Lucas
no, but
Moura.
even then, you go second, third, fourth, in a matter of 3 seasons with Poch.
Yeah.
It's like a slow decline. So
Mm-hmm.
he's still such a good manager.
But yeah, if you look at this and you say, oh, well, yeah, Ryan Mason could do well, but what if he does bad? I mean, I have an opinion on what could happen. What do you think would happen if they were to bring in a permanent coach next season, assume Mason doesn't do great, or they just don't think he's ready? I mean, who would you bring in? Like, I feel like, where do you go from here? Who wants to go into that organization in shambles right now? I mean, I don't know.
It would have to be, I feel like, a former Tottenham player.
Interesting, yeah.
Or even just someone who is willing to risk it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even like I could see Ledley King get the position.
Interesting.
But I'm thinking Steven Gerrard. I could see him get the position. I could see Nagelsmann get the position. Nagelsmann's probably not gonna sign up for that.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously know what's his name? The guy from Fulham.
Scott Parker.
Yeah. I could definitely see him getting the position. I know not Steven. How am I forgetting his name? This guy from Leicester. Leicester's manager.
Brendan Rodgers?
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers. I don't know how I forgot that.
He said he's not going to
get there.
Yeah.
I know Brendan Rodgers isn't going to, but people said, oh, he might.
People are saying it because it's actually a funny story on his history as, talking about managerial rumors, because when he was with Celtic and he got them to the Champions League and they did like pretty well one year, I think they beat Barcelona. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there at the time, and he was, I think it was either after Liverpool or like one time he was coaching a Scottish team before he was at Liverpool, and he was like, yeah, it was either a Scottish or an Irish team, and he's like, I'm not leaving, we're doing great things here, signs for Liverpool. And then then he went to Celtic, and maybe it was at this time where he was like, I love what we're building, the culture we're building, and then he gets a chance to manage Leicester, and he goes there after saying that he loves the project, he signed a big contract, and he left. So, do I think he'd do that with Leicester? Absolutely not. I think he's really excited to like build something and be a part of it. Like you think of Liverpool, and even Celtic to some extent compared to Leicester are more established clubs in history that really have that history to, and a reputation, whereas Leicester is still paving their path, and I think he was really excited to be a part of that, and they're doing great things with all the young talents, all the great bargain buys like Timothy Castagna that they got. And so I don't think he goes there. I think you can make a great point about internal hires. I think that would be the most sensible and most economically feasible contract-wise. Some of the players the managers that I think would be good fits would be Graham Potter. I keep saying this ironically, but I do think he would do a fantastic job with good players. And Scott Parker as well. I don't think Nagelsmann takes the job because he's got such a good thing going on with Red Bull Leipzig, with the Red Bull group. He's really been bred through that, and I feel like he's ready for a bigger challenge, right? But
yeah,
I don't think that Spurs is the right club for it. I feel like
Tottenham's too big of a challenge.
He has so much time on his hands. Like, he has so much time for the future of his coaching career that he needs to make sure that he has a club that's able to believe in him and give him that financial backing. I don't think Spurs can do that. That's why I think if they give it to someone, like you said, who's been a part of their club, or maybe he's kind of an up-and-coming manager. You look at, people talk about, oh, they need to make a big hire. It sucks if they go down the pecking order. But this is the biggest point you have to make. What did they do with Poch? They get him from Southampton, who's below them, and they're improving. They poach him up. Ralph Hasenhüttl, of course, came from RB Salzburg, went to Southampton. Not saying that they'll sign Ralph Hasenhüttl for Spurs, but going down the table to find coaches isn't a bad thing to do. Honestly. Sometimes they just need that quality in the final third. You look at a team like Brighton, who has one of the highest expected goals ratios in the world in some respects, that they're able to generate so many chances with their unique pressing style and their formations and the way they're able to play with their three center backs. But they don't have that quality up front. Neil Maupay wouldn't cut it if he was playing for Liverpool or any team. I mean, so they're missing a lot of chances. Imagine what he does with that system, with Harry Kane, Gareth Bale, and Heung-min Son, and a lot of other things that he could do with many different players. Like, that's why I bring up the point about going down the table. I think it could happen. I think it's most probable, along with the other option of hiring from within or hiring a Spurs man through and through.
Yeah, completely agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
You're speaking pure facts.
Mans woke up and decided to speak pure facts, but yeah.
No,
you got anything else looking at the rest of the Prem, or I mean, we could look at the table. We could look at any other teams.
Let's talk about something other than Tottenham and the Super League.
I would look at the cup final between Leicester City and Chelsea.
Ooh, yes.
Like, not only is the top four race heating up for the Premier League, but we'll get to that another time. Maybe probably on Super Sunday, the final match day or something like that. Basically, all you got to know for the Premier League table, it's tight. It's going to be tough. But Leicester City won against Southampton, 1-0, a goal from the senior man. He's magic, Kelechi Iheanacho. What a guy, what a lad. He's been doing bits for my fantasy team, and he's doing bits for Leicester City. Look at Arlo White. Look at Arlo White. Quick shout out to Arlo White. He's a Leicester City fan.
No, we can't. Jared may or may not have gotten into some Twitter drama with Arlo White. White may
I'm a new
Arlo
Twitter
White may or
user.
may not have insulted Jared's hair.
I've been using Twitter for a good 5 months. I used to hate the format, but now I love the fact that it's the only medium where you can just like speak your mind, and it's like a very informal thing. It's just like, oh, Chelsea looks like they suck today or something. It just so happened that when Chelsea was playing Crystal Palace, they didn't suck, and Christian Pulisic, for that matter, didn't suck either. But I had some somewhat critical words, not vulgar at all, about Arlo White saying, I said, quote, I swear I've heard Arlo White say Christian Pulisic's name 20 times in the last 5 minutes during the pregame before the match started. And after he had his halftime soup, which, if you ever see his Twitter, he loves soup. I mean, props to you. I mean, food knowledge is great. But I guess he looked at his Twitter postgame. I didn't even tag him. I didn't at him. Like, I'm not a confrontational type of guy. I'm not trying to throw hands virtually across the Atlantic Ocean. But yeah, he replied to me, and it was kind of crazy because I got the ping, and I told Camilo, I was like, oh my god, Arlo White replied to me. Let me see what it is.
Oh no.
And it says, like, great haircut. Thumbs up. But, like, say you're not a great English speaker, you might say, oh, that's a compliment. Well, I'd like to say that my hair isn't abysmal. I mean, I get compliments from my TV station here in Syracuse that I should get sponsored by a shampoo brand and conditioner brand. So maybe that's in the works in the future. But, yeah, it was more or less a little bit of a dig because I probably insulted his commentary. And because, like I said, I'm working in a student producing role, I understand what it's like to be in a broadcasting realm. I understand that it's not his say to say Christian Pulisic's name 20 times. All these like lower thirds and full screens and graphics that they give him before the game and videos. It's the producers that are telling him, we need to talk about Christian Pulisic. We're on an American channel. I get it. But I feel like my perspective, which is my opinion, which is just as equally valid as everyone else's opinion, is that maybe there are some new American fans, but just because Christian Pulisic is from Hershey, Pennsylvania, and he has an American upcoming in a story, I don't think that's more important than all the rest of the players on the pitch. I think it goes for any player, any commentator, any team, even if you're doing coverage for the home team. I feel like same thing with the principles of merit in European championships and qualifications. I think whatever is deserved should be given, and I think that when two teams play each other, as a professional, commentating on professionals, you should admire the work rate and the efforts from both squads, not just an American because they're American. And that's my 2 cents on it. I wouldn't be vehemently American as a commentator when I get older, when the golden generation hopefully does more things and even greater things than they're already doing. But yeah, he replied back. He got like probably 100 likes from his followers. So
ratioed.
That was great. I got ratioed. It was probably like 3 to 100. But yeah. Then I got one response on my tweet that said, "quote Arlo, you know that's below you," and he's absolutely right what he's saying. That yes, we understand that, but it shouldn't be like. You really, if you're going to have a response, you should have something that's actually has substance, something that's meaningful. I'm pulling up the actual verbatim thing right now, as I keep talking here.
As him and Arlo White are beefing.
Yep.
Arlo White's gonna listen to this podcast and he's gonna...
Here we go.
He's gonna at you on Twitter. And...
Actually, never mind. I didn't get that ratioed. He got 50 likes, and I got 12 likes. Very nice.
Oh, you got 12 likes? Hey.
Yeah, one of the likes I got, though, was from, like, this guy that, his name was, I'll see if it's too vulgar or not. It's basically an Arlo White hate account. Yeah, I'm not going to say that. But, think of how you could manufacture his name. But, yeah, response is beneath you, Arlo, and I agree with him. The push to talk up American players, we know the reason, but most watch football to embrace the global aspect and the pleasure it brings. And I 100% agree with that. I've told plenty of people that I've run into that I want to understand why Jorginho is so good in the pivot, making those passes in transition. I think that's just as worthy of conversation as Christian Pulisic in the attack. And that was my main point. I tweeted out later that, I quote, did not mean to get in a Twitter war. My last tweet was in reference to Christian Pulisic being all over the pitch at Palace, which was true in some respects, but I did tweet it before the game with kind of a hasty reference to the fact that American football coverage is so biased in that respect. I guess in some respects, yes, I added Arlo White. I didn't tag him, but I virtually approached him in that respect, but my criticism should be drawn towards the producers and the ownership groups and things like that. So learn a lesson in everything. Like I said, I'm a student in broadcasting. I go to Syracuse University. Covered the Syracuse College men's soccer team. First interview I had, talked about DeAndre Kerr, a young freshman from Canada, 17 years old. I was like, why is he not playing well? One shot on goal in the last 5 games. Coach, what are you telling your player? And he's just like, well, Jared, what else am I supposed to do? Tell him to shoot more, yeah? But yeah, it's a valid point you're making. But DeAndre, he's young. He's got to fit into it. And I totally didn't think about that at all. And I was like, he's younger than I am, playing in the college system. And what else is he supposed to tell him? What else is he supposed to say? Shoot more. Run into the half spaces. Find chances. I don't know. I mean, these players are so good that they should know what they're doing. So, from a broadcaster perspective, in the same respect, I do think Arlo White should be a little bit less Americanized, even though he is producing for an American station. But, so I've learned plenty of things from that, at least. I guess I should target the producing team instead of Arlo White. I do hope that if I meet him someday, we'll be on common ground and we'll have a nice medium to talk over some soup or something like that.
Yo, that tomato soup, let's go.
Tomato soup. Yeah, he's a pretty great fan. I just want to shout out one more thing that he said that was a little bit interesting. I mean, you talk about a guy that's one of the staples as a commentator in football. And he's also a really avid fan of soup. I mean, today he had a tomato basil soup before his match. And now I'm looking for his reply again. But pretty much when the Super League was going out, obviously everyone was opposed to it. And the Leicester man was doing a game. And after the game, he saw the news. And instead of talking about the news itself, he went into talking about soups. He said he's forming his own Super League, smoked ham and sweet corn. He always posts his soup on his placards with his statistics. It's just like a game day tradition. Then he went on a thread. Fans at Tomato Basil Albion and FC Lobster Bisque are threatening to boycott all stock-based liquid foods until the idea is canned. A source close to the soups has told me that the relations are, quote, strains, in quotations. And then he said, breaking, the board of Atletico Gazpacho are getting cold feet. So, I mean, gotta love it. Love the originality and the personality from him. Maybe I was a little too harsh on it, but ultimately, you learn things as you go on in life. Hopefully I do get the chance to meet him someday and talk over some soup and my hair, maybe in a good way or a bad way. But yeah, that was the whole Arlo White encounter that I got. I mean, kind of sick to be recognized, I guess, in either respect from a big mainstay in the football world.
Now, let's take a minute and talk about your Brest. 15th place in Ligue 1.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you're gonna need some breast reduction surgery.
You're talking about teams in the Ligue 1. Brest, you know Brest. Yeah, I mean, they might need the opposite. Actually, I would say they wouldn't need a reduction of salaries. I would think that they need an influx of cash to boost their salaries and get in better players.
Actually, they've they've impressed me so far. What was it, 2018, 19? They got promotion. And they're starting to establish themselves right now. They're like, I think last season they were 14th. I just checked. Now they're 15th. If they can just keep some sort of mid-table mediocrity, kind of like Bournemouth a few years ago, they could stay.
I think the big example now is like Burnley as well.
Burnley, actually, yeah. Or Stoke years ago. They
couldn't do it on a rainy night at Stoke.
Honestly, like, I wouldn't be surprised if like these smaller clubs manage to actually cement themselves in the top leagues. Serie A with Parma. Although I think Parma might actually get
relegated. Yeah.
Yeah, relegated. Unfortunately, they had a legendary Faustino Asprilla.
You know what's legendary about Parma?
Tell me.
They still have an Arsenal legend that would always wear like a cap. Can you guess who it is? He's from Côte d'Ivoire, also known as Ivory Coast.
No idea. The only Arsenal player I can think of who wears a cap would be Peter Cech.
Gervinho. I swear he's still there. I can't be wrong.
I had no idea Gervinho even played.
Because I swore I saw him playing for them. Yep, he's playing for Parma still.
Wow.
33 years old. Yeah, I mean, what a throwback. I mean, he's got a nice looking forehead. Wears that headband proudly. Former Arsenal legend. I mean, it brings me nostalgia when I see a guy like that. When I was 10 years old, and I'm like, wow, I remember that guy playing for Arsenal. Now we've grown up, and he's playing for Padua in relegation battle.
And as you grew up, Joshua Zirkzee grew up, and he grew up to play with Gervinho. From watching Gervinho on the telly to playing with him. No, I mean, who are your like biggest shouts next year? Well, okay, I'm gonna explain this.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Obviously, I'm 10 years into the future. I'm in 2031 in my football management. Now let me explain this.
No, I'm letting you. It's great. This is a great concept.
It's crazy, yeah. So we got QPR, we got Watford, we got Derby County. They all go up, and they managed to stay up for a while. Unfortunately, QPR has gotten relegated.
No,
and now they're in third place.
I'll just jump in. The biggest thing, the most nostalgic thing about QPR was Adel Taarabt. The streets will never forget. Adel Taarabt. And Hatem Ben Arfa with Newcastle. That was amazing. And Michu with Swansea. But go on.
Yeah. Oh, you know who else with Swansea?
Who? The pace merchant, Daniel James.
No, try again.
Is he someone I'd know? I think I know where you're going. I got this.
Yeah. I can't remember his name.
Michel Vorm.
No! The song, the little jingle.
Oh! I got it.
Come on, WILFRIED BONY.
Score some goals for Swansea.
I gotta pull that up right now.
Wild.
We go. I'm just gonna play that right now.
BONY. Score some goals for Swansea.
If you actually, there's a 10-hour loop.
What about our next episode? We just played as ambient noise in the background.
We should. This episode is just banter right now. We're usually super prepared. We're usually
this was supposed to be Super League is gone, but maybe the title will be So Come On WILFRIED BONY. Never know.
Yeah. And we'll call it.
Maybe we'll just name the next episode So Come On WILFRIED BONY. But
no,
since it'll be the backing track for the entire episode, just on a very low volume, potentially.
Honestly, maybe.
Stay tuned.
No, but I mean, I want to see these teams, these older teams like Bolton Wanderers and stuff, go back up.
Yeah, if you're gonna say teams that I want to see back up, I can give you probably my strongest example that I want to see is Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about them a lot.
All the time. I always say, the fact that they've won 2 Champions League and Arsenal can't win any. I want Nottingham Forest to come back up. Love the history. I just love their logo. They play in a pretty nice stadium. I just want to see them back up. I mean, it would be great even if they were a mid-table team. Just think it's unfortunate that they fell from grace like that.
I'll tell you my number 1.
All right.
Palermo.
Oh, yes. Wait. I got another one. Actually, this might... I don't know. I think it's neck and neck with Nottingham Forest. You got to know it. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Sunderland till I die.
Let's go. Yeah, we watched the documentary. I saw it in the summer on Netflix, and then I was like, hey, yo, Camilo. Watch Sunderland till I die. Spoiler alert. It only gets sadder and sadder. That's the reason.
I'll tell you. I couldn't finish season 2. I was too sad.
George Honeyman, gone. Lee Cattermole, gone. Jason Steele. I think he's a backup in the Prem now, which is great for him.
But I'll tell you who is in Sunderland right now, fucking tearing shit up.
I mean, technically Josh Maja is, right? 'Cause he's on loan.
He left.
I thought he was on loan. Wow.
No, he's on loan from some team in France.
Interesting.
Max Power. This guy's name is actually Max Power, and he plays for Sunderland. Also, what's his name? That dude. What's his name? Gooch? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you say Gooch.
What?
I heard you say Gooch.
Yeah, something Gooch. That's his name. He plays for Sunderland.
Never heard that.
He's an American.
Interesting.
He's going to be the best American player ever.
Where does Daryl Dike play?
He plays in... Actually, Daryl DK.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how to pronounce it. No, I don't know how to pronounce it. He plays in Barnsley, and he's tearing it up in Barnsley.
Sick.
And actually really sad. We got to talk about Sunderland, though.
Yeah, keep going. Let's go.
Sunderland bottled automatic promotion.
Mm-hmm.
They have... Their form right now is a draw, 3 losses in a row, and another draw. While Peterborough have torn it up, and now they're at 79 points in second, with Sunderland in third at 72 points.
Peterborough.
With 1 game above Lincoln City, 1 more game than Lincoln City, who also have 72 points. So I don't think Sunderland players like Max Power can go through another playoff heartbreak. Max Power's already been in 2.
They can go through they can go through the playoff. They just don't have to go through the heartbreak. They just have to win.
Yeah, but I mean, they've already played 2 finals recently. With I think it was the Papa John's, or 3 finals, 2 or 3 finals. With the Papa John Pizza one and
I love how
Max Power.
I think
Max
I'd
Power
be okay
lost
with
and cried.
sponsored cups as a compromise for not having the Super League. Sponsored
Honestly,
cups. Papa John's cup, I don't care. Get it done.
Yeah.
Get in.
No, but like, I'd be totally down for like it's sad for them because I think Max Power got injured in one of the finals or something and he was sad.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever.
Yeah, we definitely
let's
want
go
that.
all the way down.
Another thing that's crazy for Sunderland is, of course, they're in League One, but they still have a 50,000 seat facility, the Stadium of Light.
Oh.
And like the reason they were there is because they've been established for so long. They have that fan culture. If you go to Sunderland, you're not... no one goes on a family vacation to Sunderland. But their working class culture that they have and they built through the club enabled them to really have a bunch of viewership to be able to build that massive, amazing stadium. And I love the fact that it's literally called the Stadium of Light.
Yeah.
Because it's not sponsored, although maybe someday it will get sponsored, or unless the owners kind of just keep with tradition. But it also is symbolic for what we've talked about in this football league structure, that they're not solidified in one league doomed for the rest of their existence. They'll always have light at the end of the tunnel and a hope to do so if they will themselves to commit to, of course, maybe getting automatic promotion or more. But love to see them back in the Premier League because the fans there deserve it. They absolutely do. They've been through a lot of hardship, especially in recent memory, with back-to-back relegations. I mean,
let me just.
I don't know how that happens. You're
Yeah,
supposed
no,
to be Premier League quality teams. Sure, maybe they get into the championship and they don't get immediately promoted, but they usually don't get into the relegation zone.
Okay, I'll give you some examples.
Mm-hmm.
This was the year Sunderland got relegated, 2016-17. That was the season. This is the season I was talking about earlier, where Tottenham got in second place.
Yeah.
Okay, let's name the bottom 3. Let's just name a lot of the teams that went down after this season, or who went down this season. Sunderland, Middlesbrough, Hull City, all of them went down that season. And then Swansea were also in there. Watford were there. Stoke were there. Bournemouth, all of them. So Bournemouth actually finished 9th, which would be impressive, as I think that was like one of the years after they'd just gotten promoted. Mm-hmm. But let's go back. Hull City and Sunderland, and I think Middlesbrough. No, not Middlesbrough. Hull City and Sunderland are both playing in League One right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been 4 years after.
Quick shout out to the YouTube channel HITC7s, Alfie and his Hull City AFC. Go Tigers.
Oh, yes. Those two teams were in the Premier League less than 5 years ago. To say 3 years is not a long time in football is wrong. 3 years is like a century in football. So, I mean, like you saw with Sunderland and Hull City, you can slip very quickly. And even, I could argue with Bournemouth. That season, Bournemouth were 9th, right? I'm looking at the little Google thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably a better website for this. That season, Bournemouth were 9th. What? And they got promoted in 2015, so that was like their second year in the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
And they got 9th, which is, wow.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go. I want to see. There are like, who've been there for the longest in the Premier League? Obviously the Big Six, and then West Ham and Everton.
I think there are a couple teams that have like never gotten relegated, but I can't name them for sure.
I'll tell you a team that's never gotten relegated ever in their entire history. Atlético Nacional. Vámonos. Vámonos verdes. Vámonos.
You want to know a team that's never been relegated in their history?
Tell me.
LA Galaxy.
My guy. You know who has gotten relegated in their history? Worse than relegated.
The Tampa Bay Mutiny. Pain. I told someone I was broadcasting a game with that I was like, yeah, we love watching soccer. I mean, it would be great if I hate the MLS, but I would watch it if it came to Tampa. And then I was like, one of my friends is Colombian and he was trying to buy a Vive Valderrama jersey. And it was $150.
I would have bought it if it wasn't that expensive. Because he's a Colombian legend and he's played for the team from the city I'm born in and grew up in.
Honestly, like the way you have to look at it is like, say, how many jerseys have you gotten in the past 2 years?
Well, my dad gave me like 6.
Yeah, but like if you're buying one, you'd probably buy one a year. So if you were going to buy 2 in 2 years, you'd probably just buy that one Mutiny jersey and then just not get one next year because it's like the combined cost of 2 jerseys. If you get the authentic ones from like overseas with like a player number, it's more expensive. He just has this nothing on the back because he loves all of the players on Spurs. That's why.
I have that for Spurs and I have that for Dortmund.
Mm-hmm.
I got that
sick jersey too. So yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, the Dortmund jerseys.
I'm really thinking this is kind of cutting into like, I don't know, this is just a random tangent, but like obviously the Champions League happened.
That's what this
episode
entire
is.
Podcast. Yeah, this episode is.
The entire podcast, yes.
No, not the podcast, just the episode.
Yeah. I mean, Dortmund losing to Man City, but that was the first full game I watched Jude Bellingham, and Camilo and I have always been huge fans of him, somewhat ironically from the fact that he got his jersey retired with Birmingham City. And the fact that he's so young starting for Dortmund is amazing. And I watched his game, and I just have to say, I want to get a Jude Bellingham jersey because I don't want a Erling Haaland jersey. I'm not that basic. If I look at Leicester City, I'd get an Iheanacho, a Castagna, or a Yuri Tielemans jersey before a Vardy jersey. If I'm looking at Atalanta, they don't really have any, like, mainstays. Like, like, everyone's a star player. That's just their culture. So, I mean, you could get Duvan, you could get Luis Muriel, De Ruyne, Remo Freuler.
I'd obviously get one of the Colombians.
Yeah. I mean, and rightly so. They're doing great. Luis Muriel actually is third in the world right now in world football in goals per 90.
Yo, that is important for a striker. That is the most important thing for a striker.
I saw that stat and I was like, oh my god. It's like, find the imposter. No, he's not an imposter. You just don't watch Atalanta and you don't care about small teams making it big.
Who said find the imposter?
That's just the meme format I came up with for most things. Like, you know how, like, find the imposter for the European Super League and everyone says, oh, Arsenal's in there and Spurs.
And Spurs.
Yeah. But Jude Bellingham, yeah, that's the Dortmund player I would get a jersey. I mean, he's probably going to move on to greater and bigger things, maybe, like, a couple years. I think he'll stay there for his development for at least, like, another 2 or 3 years. World class. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you might think I'm over-exaggerating when I just talk about a center midfielder, but people like talking about Declan Rice. People like talking about a lot of young center midfielders, but he was playing against Manchester City in the biggest stage of his career, a year removed from Birmingham City, against the best team in the world, and he was fantastic. The reason I say that I think he'll be one of the best midfielders not in the world and of his generation, which is probably a very bold thing to say, was a very, like, acute and specific thing, which was the way he controls his movement when he's receiving the ball. There were times Man City, Pep likes to play high on the press, try to force it to the outsides with his forwards, and then they press through the middle when that pass comes inside to the holding mids usually. And that was Jude Bellingham's job for the entire game. He would have basically his back facing the other way. He would be facing his own goal. And he would have to try to either make a pass or move out of pressure. And the biggest thing he did was he would have either like an attacking midfielder or like Rodri or someone else that was pressing up behind them. And they were forcing him to make that pass. But the biggest thing he would do, before you talk about players making a great first touch, in youth academies you're taught open up your hips to make that first touch so you have options. What Jude did was he would move with the ball, and his first touch and his movement would take him past the line. The line being like a midfield line. He wouldn't be making a pass into the half spaces in a connection with his forward. He would be moving into the half spaces with his own movements by himself, and that's what launched all the offensive attacks. That's what helped Dortmund even up the aggregate early in the game. Unfortunately, they couldn't hold the result, but he was world class. I was pleasantly surprised when I watched him, and I was just amazed with his ability, because I feel like I always like rating players that do all the little things right, but he does all that and then some. As a box-to-box guy, he was breaking everywhere. He just did so much for his team, and I was like, I would take him at any team. I would start him at any team. I don't care that he's only 18 years old. I don't care about that. He's 17. World class. 17. He's like DeAndre Kerr here at Syracuse, except he's even better. But, like, yeah. That was the most amazed of, like, an individual performance I've seen since, like, even Lionel Messi. He was a guy that's, like, hyped up, right?
Yeah.
But, like, Jude Bellingham's kind of under the radar, and that's the most I've been, like, surprised by any individual performance. And I can't say enough about Jude Bellingham. It's just, he was amazing in that game. And I'll be getting his jersey at some point, because that's what sold me.
I mean, Jared, we should just I was speaking to my friends. They said you should just start a podcast not about soccer, but just about everything, where you just talk about nothing / everything.
Which would be
we
like...
should do that. That'd be so funny. Our
philosophy.
Everything.
I take a philosophy class now.
I recently got my hair cut. No, but Jude Bellingham is probably one of my favorite players ever.
Really?
Ever.
I mean, it's the same for me now. It's insane to say it, but like, he's gonna be world class. When he bursts onto the scene like Micah Richards into the England squad, you'll remember this, guys. You'll remember us talking about it.
He hasn't burst onto the scene, but he's already gotten into the England squad.
He's about to burst onto the scene like crazy. It's going to happen. He's going to be one of the most coveted midfielders in the world.
I wish Colombia had a kid like this.
Wish Colombia had Jude Bellingham. Too bad you have Big Jeff. Big Jeff is still okay.
Big Jeff.
What I love about Big Jeff is the loyalty to the club.
Oh, yeah. He's probably one of the best Bournemouth players.
He's playing in the championship with Bournemouth. I feel like he at least has some quality, like to play for Brighton or some team like that. But, I mean, I respect it.
No, yeah, I respect him. I respect it. I think, I'm not sure if it was. I think it was Eddie Howe who gave him his big break, so.
Yeah.
Respect to that.
Respect.
Respect. What's it say on the shirts? Respect gang. Respect gang.
On which shirts?
On the Champions League shirts. Didn't it have on the badge or something like respect gang?
Yeah.
Respect gang?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hashtag respect gang. Hashtag respect gang.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess if we're going to, since this is supposed to be a mini episode, of course our episode is called The Goal Hour. We never finish in an hour.
Never.
Not
even today.
But it wouldn't be right if we called it The Goal Hours or the,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, just vibe with it, guys. Play along. I mean, we'll have a little bit more to talk about. Went on a tangent, really, talking about, like, underrated teams, players. I think it was because of Leicester City playing Chelsea. But, I just wanted to touch on that and then look at the Serie A and then just go into whatever you want, really, because Serie A, Atalanta's done great. Leicester City, just real quick, I guess, FA Cup final prediction, what would you take?
Come on, Leicester City. Come on, Kelechi. Score some goals for Leicester. We go wild, wild, wild. We go wild, wild, wild. Now come on, Kelechi. Score some goals first. No, yeah. I'm gonna back the Blues. Not the Blues, the other Blues.
The less blue
What's the
Blues.
nickname for Leicester?
Foxes.
I'm gonna back the Foxes.
Because Chelsea's logo is technically a lion, but like they're not like the Chelsea Lions. They're just Chelsea FC. But same with Leicester. But Foxes are better.
Can I
Foxes are
ask
cool.
you something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, do you like the old Juventus logo or the new one? Which one do you like more?
I used to not like the change. I didn't like the change at the beginning, but now I like the new Juventus logo. I'm kind of indifferent about it. I don't care that they changed the Juventus logo anymore, like I used to. But I also think looking back at the old logo, it just reminds me of AC Milan. So I'm like, hey, I don't mind it that much.
I like the new one way more. I don't know. I feel like it's more original. It's better. It's more modern.
They used it. That was their idea to make like an image synonymous with the brand. It's like a very American thing to do, coincidental with the Super League. But like as a quick modern day example, Starbucks used to have Starbucks coffee on their logo. They took it off because they feel like they want to push their branding with name recognition so that you can not only save space on things, but have an image be synonymous with your brand. So, I mean, that was a part of what Juventus did. I actually like the logo now, though. I mean, I was kind of surprised at the beginning that I've kind of changed through that.
And now Inter's trying to do something similar.
Oh, that one sucks, though. That one sucks.
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah.
It looks like tit. Also, I just really want to quickly talk about this. I don't know why. I just noticed this.
Yeah.
The 3 teams that got relegated from the Premier League last year are all top 3 in the championship.
Norwich, Watford, and let me think. I'll get it.
Oh, we were just talking about them.
Bournemouth got up there?
Yeah.
Nice. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job,
they're top 3
forgot
right
his
now,
name.
So.
Same as
Jefferson
Jason.
Lerma?
No, the coach. That was under Eddie Howe's staff.
Oh, I have no idea. No idea. Eddie Howe's replacement.
Yeah. I swear it was Jason.
That's his name, Eddie Howe's replacement. No, they're tearing it up. What are some other... Didn't Palermo have a logo change or no? Am I wrong and stupid?
I don't think so.
Oh, you know what? The Everton logo change.
Really?
No, like remember it before or no?
Nope. I'll look it up then.
It was...
Oh, they took out the yellow.
Yeah. No, wasn't there another one?
I have one here, a picture.
Yeah.
They used one for 1 year that had like a... Oh! Oh my god. Romelu Lukaku logo. The one that they had when Romelu Lukaku was playing there?
Yeah,
like for a year. The yellow trim on the outside and then like the little tower is more prominent.
Yeah. I
like the new logo better.
I mean, if I'm looking at the history of all the logos...
Yeah.
That 1982-1983 one is actually pretty nice.
You like that one?
Wow. I'm a fan of that one. I mean, although the circular badge is kind of an iffy.
Yeah, I just like the new one.
Here, since you're the editor, let's make some more work and let's just put up the image.
Put up the image on it? Alright.
Yeah. And if you forget this, we're gonna riot.
I'll just drag it out onto my desktop here. Big things. Smart things.
What other logos are there? Like logo changes? I'm looking online, like big logo changes. You know? I know there are rivals. I know they're Colombia's rivals, but the Ecuador logo change was a good shout.
No,
Very nice.
Which is what's unfortunate. That...
Don't.
Well, actually, now that I think about it, Mexico also had those jerseys. I was like...
Oh, I thought
when Mexico, Colombia had those cool World Cup jerseys. Nigeria had them too from Nike. And then I want to say like Venezuela had them for like the World Cup qualifiers. And it was kind of sad because like it's Venezuela.
Aww.
I was like, this is so sad. Venezuela.
No, they have a good goalkeeper. I like their goalkeeper.
I think I saw something on that. I don't know where he played. You told me he like plays somewhere.
He plays in France.
Yeah.
Like Rennes or something. The Man City logo changes were good because it should have come earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of for like the old Man City logo is, the not plastic Man City, and then the new one would be the plastic disgusting Man City everyone hates.
Yes. To be fair though, Sheikh Mansour has invested in the community heavily since then.
Fair enough.
I think it's like fair enough that he's actually done a lot still. Like what has Arsenal done? They've just sat down and been happy with 10th place.
What have Tottenham done? They just built a new stadium in one of the poorest regions in London.
That's what that whole marketing thing for getting All or Nothing Tottenham Hotspur was a big marketing stunt to make Daniel Levy look like he was a good guy and not like the devil or something. He was like, we built this stadium in the poorest part of North London so that we could incentivize growth in the area and help everyone in the community. And it's like, yes, that's true, but it's free real estate. So yeah, that's
it's cheaper to build on
absolutely
in poor areas.
Yeah,
so.
But I mean, he does have a point though. So I mean, fair play to him.
Yo, Bayern Munich actually had a logo change from 2017-18. They had that logo change in that season. Mm-hmm. It's a very big logo. It was just like 2 colors they changed.
That's pretty big.
Yeah. It was like when they, I forgot what country changed their flag. But I'm going to talk about the best logo change in history. Sorry that I'm just talking about logo changes.
Yeah, I'll I'll wrap up the episode after this. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well...
Yeah,
Leeds
I see what you're
United's
talking
logo
about
change,
with
yeah.
their...
Oh, the Bayern one?
Have you ever seen the 1938 through 1945 logo?
Let me look it up. Also, while I'm looking it up, look up Leeds logos.
Interesting.
I'm not sure if it's going to be up there, but... They're 19... What years?
1938 through 1945.
Oh, no. Ooh, fuck, oh, fuck, oh, fuck. Fuck. Oh, no. Jared, don't edit that in. Don't edit that in, Jared. Don't edit that in.
Yeah, I know. Just saying, like...
Yeah, I know.
Isn't that... It's amazing how it's bled through to everything, but...
Yeah,
I mean,
didn't realize
good to see the progressive change from that club, that's for sure. I mean, it's something you don't even think about over the course of history.
We should make a logos episode.
Another mini episode.
Like a little logos video.
Yeah, it'll be a... Again,
not even a mini episode.
Yeah, we talk about mini episodes and they go longer than mini. But
yeah,
we'll make it. Yeah.
We should just make videos, not mini episodes, just videos.
Interesting. As long as we have the rights to the photos, yes.
Oh, do we need rights to these logos?
Not all of them. It's just some of them, depending on where you source them. But and then you can you can make credit bugs though, so it's simple. But they're also simple. What about like the ones that are...
Leeds United logos is like an L.
Yeah, it's just like a yellow ball with a line on it. Makes no sense.
But do you see the one with the dude's fist? It says Leeds United, and it's like a guy's body, and it's his fist.
Oh yeah, 2018.
Yeah, that is so funny.
I like that one. It's kind of cool.
You like that one?
It's not suitable for a club, but I think it's pretty cool. Like I think it's a cool concept, but they would hate it.
The first time I saw that, I thought it was fake.
It's real.
I was like, "There's no way a football club would want to change their logo to that." Bruh.
That's small club mentality.
That's a small club mentality. Alright, guys, thank you for tuning into this episode of the Goal Hour podcast, episode 3.5. If you can hear something in my background, it's probably because my dad's building a shelf or something. Thank you for joining us on this little mini episode / half episode.
Mm-hmm.
Follow us on Twitter when we start using it. Follow us on Instagram when we start using it.
Yeah, we'll probably shout that out for the next one, that's for sure.
Yeah, it might be in the description, who knows. But thank you guys for tuning in. And we're sorry if you weren't expecting a random podcast like this episode, but we were just on the phone and we decided banter.
Yeah, it's mostly enticing. I mean, for anyone, at least, if you want to tune into the first 10 minutes and then turn the rest of it off. I mean, this European Super League is gone. I'm sure you can all rejoice about that. And if you're not a Spurs fan, just skip to the last section and look up some pretty cool logos. Pretty relaxed show. I mean, we'll probably get into some FA Cup draws, some European Championship draws, and then some league table descriptions, because getting towards that time, towards the end of the season, where it's the final match day. So, I mean, we'll get into that and more, but this is pretty relaxed, though. I mean, thanks for tuning in and joining us, or getting through the entire episode. Jared Johnston with Camilo Yepes. This was episode 3.5 of the Goal Hour.
Bye!